Recapping the action from last night of Thursday night college football, Shedeur Sanders proved why he is our QB1. We're going to discuss this and more coming up next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Locked On family? Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. You can find and follow me on X at DP_NFL. I'm a senior draft analyst, and thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Guys, I come to you today to recap some of the action from last night on Thursday Night Football with college football. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn, Cam Miller, all those guys balled out when Colorado faced North Dakota State. North Carolina has a pair of defensive linemen that gets after the quarterback, and their running back was a wrecking ball on Thursday night. But, guys, we got to start with the first game. That big game, the game that everybody was watching. I can't wait to see the numbers on how many people watched Colorado versus North Dakota State. And, you know, you got the top, FCS team versus a team that in Colorado now Power 4 in the Big 12, trying to state their claim as one of the better teams in that conference. And I got to start with QB1. Shedeur Sanders, yes, Carson Beck plays tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern against Clemson. Big time moment, big time game, big time defense to face, right? So he has his opportunity to answer. But right now, in our preseason rankings, Shedeur Sanders was QB1. And in that game last night, he was QB1. Guys, Shedeur Sanders, 76.5% completion, 445 pass yards, 4 total touchdowns. And yes, the Colorado went into the portal, went into the recruiting ranks, and they brought in 4 or 5 new guys to their offensive line, right? This is the first action against a physical, really competitive opponent. Those guys got to gel and mesh, right? It's better than it was last year, but it still wasn't great. Shedeur Sanders was still under fire, still dealing with pressure, different things of that nature. But, guys, what he was able to do, some of the throws, I tweeted it out. Shedeur Sanders made throws last night, guys, under duress. You talking about NFL, and that's what I always talk about, guys. And I discussed this. NFL, like when you're watching film, extrapolate the actual reps that translate to the NFL. That's what you do. That's what you do. And for me, that's what he showed. The ability under pressure, right? He was blitzed 9 times. He was 6 of 8, 143 yards passing, completed 75% of his passes, 18 yards per attempt for 3 touchdowns against the blitz. He was under pressure. He was able to be under pressure. I think 10 times he completed 5 of 7 for 128, and on one of the touchdowns was when he was pressured as well. Guys, like he had no problem getting the ball to his playmakers. And that's what's big to me, is that you watch a guy, and don't get me wrong, he still has the tendency to drift and drop back in the pocket, but QB1 knew how to play in the pocket. I want to see him use his legs more, but deliver the ball, right? Deliver the ball. He did just that. There was 2 throws where you got twist stunts, I think it was, from North Dakota State's defense, and you got a free runner at one point. He knows he's going to get hit. He knows he's going to get hit, and he still delivers a strike, still delivers it to his receiver down the field. One was, I think 2 of them was actually to Jimmy Horn. One was on the, I think a deep end cut that actually I might have went for a touchdown because Jimmy Horn, did his magic, which we would talk about in a minute after the catch. And then another one was to Jimmy Horn right before the half. They got them into field goal range, if I remember correct. I think that was the sequence of it all. Like the late game stuff, when you see a quarterback so comfortable in the late game or late moments of the half situations, it's under 2 minutes. We're backed up with our backs to the wall. Can you get us down the field? He did it against North Dakota State last night, and he did it last year against Colorado State in a very physical matchup. So Shedeur Sanders is still QB1 until proven otherwise. Let's keep it going. Got to talk about Jimmy Horn. Got to talk about Jimmy Horn. 7 receptions, 198 yards, and 1 touchdown. Young man is twitchy. He's explosive. He's going to work the slot. He can get you yards after catch. Guys, I'm telling you now, this offense has weapons galore. And you have the right man, the right trigger man behind the line of scrimmage, under center, in shotgun, in pistol, whatever, in Shedeur Sanders. But when you put a highly accurate quarterback with athletic, route running, guys who know how to find soft spots, who are going to work within the timing of the offense and of the passing concept, yes, I'm telling you now, Jimmy Horn is going to be a receiver. You got to watch all 2024, because by the time we get to the 2025 NFL draft for April, we could be talking about him as a 3rd-round pick, maybe 2nd-round pick. The Tank Dells, the Josh Downs, those guys are paving the way. For the Tyler Lockett's, those guys are paving the way. If Wan'Dale Robinson goes out there for the Giants and has 800-900 yards receiving for Daniel Jones and company, those guys are paving the way for another smaller receiver like Jimmy Horn. But we got to go to a guy he's taller, he's still slender, but he was the guy last night, and that's Travis Hunter. 7 receptions, 132 yards receiving, and 3 total touchdowns. You talk about just dominant. The first touchdown, the quick hitch on the outside, to then take that, beat the quick pursuit angle, and the speed, the electricity, the explosiveness, the burst, the acceleration. Keith is going to come on here Monday, and I can already see it now that he's going to say, I told you, DP, he needs to be a wide receiver. I still believe he can play either or. I have him graded as a top 15 pick. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me. He can play a corner at a high level, because I think that there's so much with his ball skills and vision and instincts and eye discipline and everything else, leaping ability, athleticism, all of that combined, there's still, and I mean there is still, without a shadow of a doubt, opportunity for him to grow at corner and be an all-pro corner. But I'm not going to sit here and act like he can't be a Pro Bowl potential all-pro wide receiver either. Like this young man, the route running is there, the yards at the catch is there, the ball skills are there. That catch, that third touchdown on the fade, on the back shoulder fade at the goal line. Like, come on, man. Like, come on. What are we doing? That defender from North Dakota State tried everything possible. He tried to rake through the hands and separate ball from the hands. His arm got caught underneath the chin, almost tried to choke him out. Like, he tried everything possible, but it didn't work. It did not work. Travis Hunter is that dude, and he can play whatever position he wants, truthfully. If Travis Hunter walks into the 2025 NFL draft class and say, I am a wide receiver, somebody's drafting them top 15, potentially top 10. And I'll say this here. If Travis Hunter enters the NFL draft as a wide receiver, he is going to be in the discussion for the first receiver off the board. Yes, Tator McMillan is 6'4", 6'5", 200-plus pounds. Yes, Luther Burden is, 5'11", 205, 210, somewhere there. He's a more sturdy build. I think 195, maybe somewhere in there. He's a sturdier build, right? But the athleticism, the leaping ability, the ball skills, the route running, I think all those things in terms of especially what Travis Hunter could be if he played full-time wide receiver, yes, a team would potentially buy into that. A team should buy into it. The ceiling is high, but the floor is high as well. Because if you pay attention, you watch him, he plays a lot on the outside, but he also can work in the inside. He's a 3-level threat. He's a timing and rhythm threat in the quick game and can make guys miss. Remember, was it the Nebraska game last year where he caught that pass in the middle of the field, juked 2 defenders, made them like a head-on collision. They're diving into each other. This young man, at the end of the day, the one word to describe Travis Hunter, simple. #special. Guys, Cam Miller, I got to go to North Dakota State and give some love, and I talked about him. Talk about making me feel right. Thank you, Cam. I gave him love on yesterday's episode, the preview, the preview that morning for Thursday morning. Guys, Cam Miller, 81.8% completion, 277 yards passing, and I believe he had 3 total touchdowns. He had 1 passing touchdown in the game, but he also added, listen to me, he was their leading passer. He also was their leading rusher, 16 carries, 81 yards, 5 yards a carry. And he had 2 touchdowns. What I loved from Cam Miller is that he played with poise. He was under control. Even when he extended his legs, he kept his eyes downfield for potential throwing opportunities. Then if nothing was there late, he took it, got yards, got down, kept his team ahead of the chains. And you love to see that, man. He's got a good arm for the most part. Now, does he have a great arm? No, it's good. It's NFL caliber, but the athleticism is there. He's got that leadership, that moxie, that grit, that toughness. And I'm going to tell you, I don't recall their coach's name right now from North Dakota State. That 2 QB thing you were running last night, in that, dead it right now. Destroy it, kill it, throw it away. Cam Miller is your starter, and that's what it's going to be. But got to give love to Cam Miller, guys. Got to give love to him because he balled out. You want to talk about balling out? Jahvaree Ritzie, Cayman Rucker, 2 defensive players on the D-line for North Carolina and those Tar Heels. Got after it versus Minnesota. We're going to talk about this coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. 5 Hour Energy shots give you the feeling of alertness and energy you need to get in the zone. Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot to stay alert, to watch all your favorite games. Or if you stayed up late to see that intense overtime game, take a 5 Hour Energy shot in the morning so you can start your day. With 0 sugar, a convenient portable size, and it's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. On the website, you have an option to build your own 12 or 24-pack. You choose the flavors, and it's delivered to your front door. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that is the number 5hourenergy.com, and get some 5 Hour Energy product today, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONFB to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. This code is not good on subscription orders. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. North Carolina Tar Heels got after the quarterback when they got the big win versus Minnesota on the road. And what do they say typically in football? Things that you need to bring with you: run game and defense on the road, right? You got to have those things. And North Carolina had it for the most part. Cayman Recer, 6'2", 265-pound edge rusher who had a good season last year, 41 pressures, 11 QB hits, and 8 sacks, also 2 forced fumbles last year. And I talked about, like, this is a guy that came out, like, burst on the scene last year, like game busters against South Carolina. I think he had 3 sacks in that game. Well, he had in this game, he had 1 run stop. He had 3 hurries and pressures, batted pass. He just got after the quarterback, made my guy Max Brosmer feel very uncomfortable in that game. And just being able to pressure the quarterback is such a big thing. Did he get home and bring in those sacks? No, but you talking about being a key cog in the pass rush. You got to give credit to that, right? When you make the quarterback uncomfortable, like, that's big. When you make the quarterback uncomfortable, he has to feel your presence as a pass rusher, right? On 22 pass rush snaps, you convert with 3 pressures. And like I said, batted pass, making him feel uncomfortable, right? Those hurries. Yes, that matters. And his teammate, Jahvaree Ritzie, graduate student, listed at 6'4", 290, a guy that, truthfully, last year, he played a decent amount of snaps, but like he wasn't heard about a lot, right? 13 hurries, 1 QB hit, 1 sack on the season, no forced fumbles. And then you fast forward to last night against Minnesota, 3 sacks, hurries, 3 run stops, a couple tackles. He made his presence felt. And watching that game, he lived in the backfield. He was disruptive, right? And he was the guy that played in the B gap, like that 2-eye type of 2-eye to 3 tech type of alignment. And this is what we talk about. This is what we love to see once we get to college football. Those guys who are not known to show up and make plays. And Jahvaree Ritzie was able to do that, guys. Look, from looking at him on the field, look like he has good arm length, body composition. He's well proportionate. This guy that looks like he can handle NFL workload. And now what we need to see, same, not just from him, but I want to see from Cayman Rucker. Now I want to see Cayman Rucker get into the sack total, but at the same time, what are hurries and pressures? Their sacks not completed. Can we get 2 to 3 to maybe 4 pressures and hurries a game? Now you convert that into 1 a game. Like you're gonna have 10, 12 sacks in the season. And I think Cayman Rucker playing as like that, like I said, 6'2", the shorter, bulkier, stockier build edge rusher. He has good natural leverage. He keeps his pad level low for the most part. He can kind of forklift and uproot tackles because he does have good strength and speed to power conversion in situations. So now you want to just see him just consistently shine in that regard. And I think the opportunity is 100% there. I think the opportunity is there for our guy at the end of the day. Like I truly believe that and foresee that taking place. And yeah, I just walking away from that matchup, and it was a close game too. Minnesota missed the field goal kick late in that game. Shout out to Max Brosmer, drove them down the field to get into field goal range with little time on the clock. He did his job. The kicker just missed it. You know what I mean? Couldn't get it in there. But Minnesota's offensive line struggled, especially on the interior. And Max Brosmer coming from New Hampshire, that was going to be a big thing for him, a big test, was the simple fact of, hey, this is new. And what I mean by this is new, it's new in the sense of you haven't done this before at a power 4 level. He was at New Hampshire with Dylan Laub last year. Now we have the opportunity to see him. And I think the lights were bright. I think the pressure from that defensive line in that front and just that team in general played a big part in everything. But I will tell you, I believe that he's going to be fine. But again, looking at this defense, shout out to my guy. I highlighted him, Elijah Huzzy, the cornerback. Talk about targeted 3 times, 2 receptions allowed for 2 yards. And he had a PBU. Lockdown coverage against, and I believe he faced off with one of my guys, Daniel Jackson, and everything. And because I like Daniel Jackson and I like his game. Yeah. Faced off with him. He was only targeted once, gave up no receptions. This guy can be sticky in coverage, right? In terms of Elijah Huzzy. And I think that we need to go ahead and prepare ourselves to just become accustomed to this name, 5'10" and 195. So shout out to the Tar Heels. They had their defenders made plays last night, and they put themselves on the radar. And I'm excited to see what the season looks like for them, because they're going to have some nice tests this season. Real quick, you got Duke, you're going to have Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech, as we saw last week, what they did to Florida State. You're going to have Florida State, Wake Forest, Boston College, and of course, your your in-state rival, North Carolina State. So they'll be tested in certain aspects. But man, this team, if they can figure out the quarterback situation, they can make some noise in the ACC. But guys, you want to talk about making some noise in the ACC? I got to stick with the Tar Heel a little bit. We're going to get not just him, I go also to another running back, another fave running back of mine, Omarion Hampton, the wrecking ball for those Tar Heels. We'll get into his game and how productive he was and how he was an engine for that offense coming up next. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your number one ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and so much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guarantee Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or you get your money back. Why is that? Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your number one ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Omarion Hampton, running back for the North Carolina Tar Heels, listed at 6 foot 220, probably 5'11", 220. I think he's a legit 220 in that regard. In this game, right, against Minnesota, where the defense played a pivotal role in keeping Max Brosmer and the Minnesota offense like off kilter, off schedule. Omarion Hampton had an NFL workload, 30 carries. He played 34 snaps. He had 30 carries, 129 yards, 4.3 yards per attempt. He forced 10 plus missed tackles, ran almost close to an even keel of zone versus gap, 4 runs of 10 or more yards. He also averaged a little over 3 yards per attempt after contact. This is a bowling ball, wrecking ball runner. And he reminds me, so I know Keith keeps bringing up, Keith mentions Josh Jacobs, right? And I can kind of see that, I think with the build. Josh Jacobs, to me, he's listed as 5'10", 223. So his build are similar. Josh Jacobs was always more of a dual threat guy. As where you like Bama would split him out and run routes with him. He's done that in the NFL at times, where you don't see that from Omarion Hampton. But the guy he reminds me of more so is Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's listed at 5'11", 227, right? And he's been in the league for 5, 6 years, 7 years now, whatever long it's been. Yes, when I look at Omarion Hampton, I see Nick Chubb, and I see an NFL running back that, yes, I can throw the short stuff to and allow him to, gear up in open space and open field and make defenders pay, right? I can do that without a doubt. But running the football, the footwork, I tweeted out, the phrase we use for running backs is slow to, fast through. You never want to just run full speed to the line of scrimmage. You want to pace yourself with tempo so you can read the moving parts on the first and second levels of the defense. If you run full speed immediately after the ball and the door closes, you're running into a brick wall. That's not smart, right? So while the defense will close a door, the offensive line typically someone makes and creates another door. So whether that's you bouncing outside, you jump cutting to a backside gap, whatever it may be, that's what happens. And for me, I look at Omarion Hampton and I see a guy that can do that. He can exchange gaps. He can work the zone concepts, right? He's got good vision. But what on this particular play that I tweeted out, he got about 10 to 12 yards off of it, presses the gap slowly but surely, pulls that alley defender towards the line of scrimmage, gives him a nasty dead leg, and then the burst to jump back outside and accelerate and get the first down. To be this strong, this built, this dense and well-proportioned, rocked up, like muscled up upper frame that you can run through arm tackles, but have the thick lower halves to push the pile. There's a still shot of Minnesota defenders trying to stop him. There's like 3 or 4 bodies, and he is standing upright, like still pushing. And that's the type of leg strength and drive. I'm telling you now, you think about the Dallas Cowboys, right? A team that needs a running back, okay? You think about the Minnesota Vikings, a team that could use a young stud running back, 100%. This is the type of guy that you need to keep your eyes on if you're one of those teams. Heck, the New Orleans Saints, because Alvin Kamara is not going to play forever, and Kendre Miller doesn't have is not in the favor of Dennis Allen and that coaching staff. Guys, I'm telling you now, multiple teams. Brian Robinson Jr. is there, Chris Rodriguez is there, and Austin Eckler is there. As a prospect, I think Omarion Hampton is a tier or 2 above Brian Robinson Jr., who I still like. So there's multiple teams that can look at running back and say, listen, we can make this move. We can make this move and make it happen. And another name to think about, Javonte Williams. And I think he has more juice than Javonte Williams over with the Denver Broncos. So got to give him a shout out. But let's go one more running back here. Rutgers running back, my guy, Kyle Mananga. And you guys know, I've talked about him, 5'9", 210. In this game, he was the guy. Simple as that. 19 carries, 165 yards rushing, almost 9 yards per attempt. He averaged a little over 3 yards after contact per attempt. He had 6 missed tackles, 6 runs of 10-plus yards. He is a zone runner through and through. And this young man is just so talented, especially with a quarterback who just had to play game manager in the sense, don't mess it up, just make the right reads and everything like that. He can catch the ball in the backfield, and that's what I want to see more of. He is good. He has that spatial awareness, that feel, the wiggle, the movement skills. Get him the ball in space more, man. Screen game, flat routes, whatever. Get him the ball in space because he's gonna make a guy miss, get you 5 to 7 yards after the catch, and just make plays for you. So, talking about one of the better running backs in the nation, and the guy I think that I grade him as a 3rd-round pick this summer. And I could see him being one of those 4th-round devalued, the teams that devalue running back, right? So you know what? Why not? Why not? Let's get him in the 4th, right? Let's get him top of the 4th round, and we're good. And he can speed. He can work. His career can go either way. He can be that Austin Eckler, Kyron Williams type of runner, or he can be that kind of that backup guy in like Michael Carter, right, who was with the Jets, who's I think now with the Arizona Cardinals. I think they brought him back after the roster cuts and everything before the 53-man roster. So gotta show love to my running backs, Omarion Hampton and Kyle Mananga. The Tar Heel running back is a star, and Kyle Mananga is just a really good runner and a really good player overall for the University of Rutgers. But guys, that's our show. Okay, that is our show. Thank you so much for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our every dayers. All right, go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. One thing I do is I can ask and urge that you leave a 5-star comment and a review, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or any of the audio podcast platforms that you use, to just continue to support the show and show your boys DP and Coach K, Keith Sanchez, some love. Guys, I got a bonus episode. This is a bonus episode, but I got a bonus episode coming tomorrow. You ever heard of the Dream Team for the Olympics? Well, I got the Redeem Team. Some prospects who had a lot of hype, who's been productive, but after 2023, things tailed off. And we're going to get into what they need to do to regain that hype and reignite that flame. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.